Lately, I have been talking a lot about intentional living through subtraction, decluttering your home, doing no buys so you don't bring more into your life, and removing things from your schedule that drain you. But this small shift actually has reminded me that intentional living is not always what you're just taking out, but it's what you're intentionally adding back in. For me, over the last 2 weeks, that has been daily sunshine. Hey friends, welcome in or welcome back. If you're new here, I'm Kay. We talk about creating a life you don't have to recover from, unlearning hustle culture, and building routines and rhythms that bend, don't break when real life happens, because real life always happens. I'm so glad you're here. Now let's get into it. A while ago, I wanted to do this experiment that my brother did. He told me that he got outside every single morning, first thing he did, and it felt so great. And on this channel, I've been working on implementing small shifts in my life to make life better. And I thought, that's something simple. That's something small. I can do that. It felt grounding. It felt healthy. It felt like a really nice way just to start my day. But I did try this. I actually started it in March. And what I found was it put more pressure on me in the mornings. It wasn't actually helping me. It was cold. It was cloudy. It was rainy. Maybe it's my fault for trying to start it in March. But I realized that even just walking outside in my robe the moment I got up every morning wasn't feeling supportive, and it was feeling like pressure. It was feeling like something I had to get done. And that was not the point. That was not why I wanted to implement this. I had to stop and ask myself, what was I truly looking for? What really sounded good when my brother mentioned this to me? What was I actually hoping to get out of this habit if I implemented it in my life? And I realized that it wasn't actually the stepping outside every day. It was the getting light. It was when he talked about waking up and getting outside and feeling the sunshine in the morning. That was what resonated with me. I was picturing the sunshine. I was picturing the warmth on my skin. I was picturing something that would lift my mood and make me feel more joyful, because I know sunshine does that. So once I realized that, I shifted the experiment. No longer was it get outside first thing every morning. Instead, I want to get daily light in a way that works with my real life. And that changed everything. So for the next 2 weeks, honestly, it's been closer to 2.5 now. Instead of waking up, getting on my bathrobe and opening the front door, I actually started focusing on just getting sunshine in my life. It didn't have to happen first thing in the morning, and it didn't even have to happen at a certain time of day. It just had to happen while the sun was up. And that gave me so much more room to breathe. If you've watched my morning routine video, you know that I'm trying to unlearn hustle culture and escape the pressure of feeling like I have to be a 5 a.m. girly. And by adding on this piece to my morning, I felt like I was actually rushing mornings. So by removing that rushing part, I now know that I have the full day of sunshine to get outside, to bring some light into my life. Now, sometimes this has looked like going to a park for a play group. That's the first time we get outside, is once we're all dressed and ready to go. Other times it's looked like sitting out on my back deck. Sometimes it's sipping my morning coffee outside. And sometimes, because of when I started this, we had a huge stretch of warm, like summer weather. It looked like being outside for 7.5 hours. But then on dreary days, or when it was rainy and cloudy and we didn't want to go outside, that's why I'm sitting in this corner, I used my happy lamp. If you've never used a happy lamp, it's amazing. It mimics light from the sun. And I sit it here and I sit in my corner and I get sunshine, even when it's cold and gray and dreary outside. If my mood was ever dropping, I knew I could come up to my chair, and even though I couldn't get outside and get sunshine, I could still get my light. And that mattered so much more to me than just stepping outside in the morning, because now I had a backup plan and a plan flexible enough to work with my life. I wasn't trying to force an exact version of the habit that my brother found success in. I made it into a small shift in my own life that worked for me. I let this habit bend with my life. And I think that is the most important takeaway for this small shift that I implemented. The first version of this routine felt very rigid. It felt like one more thing I had to do right, one more thing that I was adding in because I thought I should. And it felt like pressure, as I mentioned. But this version supports me. This version moves with my kids, with our plans, with homeschooling, with doctor's appointments, with cloudy, dreary, rainy days. It moves with my real life. And because of that, I keep doing it. I'm looking forward to it now. Every day I see sunshine. I'm like, oh, I gotta get out there and get my dose of sunshine today. And this is such an important difference between the rigid first routine and what it morphed into. So over these last 2 weeks, I have really noticed that it's not just sunshine. It's not just warmth on my skin. My mood has felt better. My energy levels have shifted. So my productivity has felt better. And even my parenting, being a wife and taking care of the home has felt easier. I know that probably sounds dramatic for something as simple as getting light every day. But I do believe that this kind of became like a tiny little reset button for my life. Because now, if the day felt off, going outside would help. If the kids or I were getting cranky, going outside helped. And if I woke up and it was a gloomy day outside and I woke up to myself dragging and feeling down already before the day had begun, I knew that my happy lamp was here for the 10 to 15 minutes that I could reset and boost my mood. Not to mention, on those gray days, it was actually really nice to force myself to sit with that slower energy, sit with a happy lamp, journal, read a book, knowing that for 10 to 15 minutes, I was choosing an intentional time to feel better about life. So this wasn't overall about sunlight. This was about building something back into my life intentionally that gave back to me. So honestly, I think this is why it connects so much to what I've been doing here on this channel. Because yes, I have been focused on my decluttering, my ruthless edit, my no buy so I don't bring more things into my life. I'm removing a lot of the excess and editing down my life so it feels more calm and intentional and softer. But intentional living is not just subtracting. It's also adding back in these simple things that restore you, adding back the things that support your energy, adding back in things that make you feel more like you, adding back the things that make life feel better to live. And I think that matters, trying to build routines and rhythms that don't feel like hustle in disguise. The first version of this habit honestly did feel a little like hustle. It felt a little too rigid. It was too tied to a perfect version of what had to happen to complete the routine. It felt like trying to perform. And this version, it doesn't feel like that. This version feels supportive. This feels like something that's giving back to me, something that I can fit into my daily life in a way that truly makes me feel better. And again, that is an important lesson that I'm learning in my soft season. I don't want a life full of routines that are just demanding more from me. I want a life with small rhythms that support me. And this tiny shift of getting daily light every day, because I know it's something that makes me feel better, has become one of those rhythms for me now. Maybe it sounds so tiny, but honestly, that is the point. I believe that small shifts lead to lasting change. And if I want to change my life, I have to start here with the small shifts. So whether it's sunlight for you, or it's a morning cup of tea and meditation, or it's something you do in the evening to wind down, I encourage you to find the small shifts in your life that make it feel more intentional, the things that you can add back in that will support you as you are decluttering and removing and editing your life of the things that don't. So if you're in your soft season or your intentional living journey like I am, find a small shift. Check out the ones I've already done on my channel, and I have more to come. I'm experimenting with all of these because I want to give you ideas on how to be more intentional with your life too. Sometimes it's not going to look perfect. It's going to look like trying something, adjusting, and then finding what fits. And that's okay because we are building a life that bends and doesn't break when life gets messy, when real life hits, or when things go sideways. I'd love to have you subscribe and follow along if this is something that you're also doing in your life or want to see more of. And drop a comment down below if you feel like it to tell me what small shift you're changing in your life. Thanks so much for being here, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.